Well, today I'm gonna show you how to adjust the blade and change a blade on a Sears standing bandsaw. And there's a few things you really need to know in case you own one and you're not quite sure how to do it. And of course the only place to get bandsaw blades now is online, eBay probably. Because Sears is not there anymore. I mean, if there is, you can probably order them from that. But anyway, so much for that. But the first thing you want to do is make sure that you definitely have this thing unplugged. Definitely unplugged. You got some clips. Kind of push, there's 4 of them. Pop those off. And now you've got the inside of this thing. And what usually happens is this rubber thing right here, like this one, comes loose. And the only way you can keep it on there is to glue it back on there. So I've got to take this blade off anyway. I've got to glue this back on there because it keeps working its way off. These older machines, you know, this thing's probably 30 years old. But in any case, let me get that glued on and then we'll start over. Okay, that knob on top, you turn that to loosen this upper wheel. Okay, now you can get your blade off. Just be real careful. You should wear gloves. Now I'll take this off and glue this on here with some contact cement. And it's hitting somewhere. Yeah, it's hitting something in here is hitting the spokes, something in this thing. We'll take this loose, and maybe that's why we're having some trouble with the rubber coming off the. This is not the drive wheel. This is the I guess the follower or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's what it is. Something in here is hitting that. So this wheel's probably come out too far. So we probably need to blow all this off and see if we can't get that shoved back a little bit. This thing's pretty much lost its elasticity. So we're just going to glue it on there. I'm sure this saw is going to last a while longer, but I just don't use it that much. And I've got everything blown off. It's just the wheel. It's been used so much, it's just everything is loose. So, but it still works, so we're going to keep going with it. Anyway, I'm going to glue this on here. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm using this Wellwood contact cement. This is oil based, so you want to keep it away from flames. It's got to be pretty much dry, and I'm putting it on so thin it's going to dry pretty quick. I hope I can get it on there halfway straight anyway. Keep it in between the lines. Okay, before this stuff totally dries, I still got a little bit of time to get this stuff in there. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. The bearing's in good shape. Slide it onto your table. There is a guide right here that it's got to fit inside there, and then there's one, I know it's going to be hard to see, it's right down in here and it's right in front of that bearing. So now you've got to line these up and get them in there. Okay, we got that one, and we got this one in there. Okay, let's get a couple pieces of tape on here. Hold this in place. And there's one. Okay, since we've got the 1/4" blade, we're going right here to the 1/4. Now if you had a 3/8 and then a 1/2" blade. So I spin this wheel till we get it up here to the 1/4" blade. And then as you're rolling it up, you just very carefully want to spin it. Now, this is why you're wearing gloves, because if this blade pops off, it'll save you. Going up to 1/4. Okay, we're at 1/4 inch. If you need to move the blade farther to the back, you turn this screw right here, which I'm going to do that now. And you do not turn it much, you just turn it just very little. A little bit goes a long way. Okay, so let's just give it a, okay, I've given it about a 1/8 of a turn. Okay, you can see where the blade is now. You see how it's tracking to the back? So we need to bring it farther to the front. So turn this thing the other way. Go back the other way. Let's go about 3/16. Let's see if that'll bring it more to the center now. Yeah, now it's coming more to the center. Still needs, that's pretty good right there, center. Okay, once you get this set, there is no locking mechanism of this. It's just, as long as it's under pressure, it's not going to move on you. It'll stay tight all the time. Now the next thing, as you change your blade, you need to move this wheel in or out. And the way you do that, it's going to be a little hard to see, but you've got 2 graphite pieces on each side of this blade, one on this side, one on this side. You loosen up these Allen screws and then you slide them in or out, because you want the blade straight from the top wheel all the way to the bottom wheel. And then there's another set down in there, and it's very important that you get these right. So what you do is you loosen them up, and then you want to loosen the top one and the bottom two, just as itself, and then move these two in and make sure the blade doesn't move one way or the other. So, and they don't have to be, you know, tight touching. They just need to be real close. And then tighten these up. Okay, look like we've got it. It's got just a little bit of play, but very little. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen? The blade's going to travel on you. Or I should say your workpiece is going to travel, causing the blade to move one way or the other. So you can see the bottom is really wore out. So it needs to be adjusted. Alright, now we pull this one in good and tight. Ah, good. Now it's not moving. Bearing. The blade doesn't have to touch. The back of the blade does not have to touch the blade. It just needs to be, if you have a dollar bill, loosen this up. And then you turn this to move this bearing in or out. So you can see how I'm moving that bearing. Okay, so you just want it to, if you can get a dollar bill in there, yeah, just barely touching. Okay, once you get that adjusted, that set screw is the loosening and tightening of the movement of this bearing. And you do want to get it good and tight. Okay, that's going to get into that. Got our blade set. This set screw here raises and lowers your guide up. Okay, so you get it where you want it, tighten it up. Now I try to keep the bottom of the guide ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch away from your stock. That way the blade stays good and straight. Now the ½ inch blade is going to stay a lot straighter than a 1/4 inch blade, but everything I do is scrolling, so I need to be able to move that thing around. Okay, now we got to put the cover back on. This cover is a pretty tight fit. You get that set and then just knock that one on and you're ready to go. Let's plug this thing in and fire it up and see what we got. There we go. Alrighty, we're ready to cut something. There we go. Okay, I've adjusted my about ½ inch or so. Alrighty, we are set, by golly. Well, I hope you enjoy your bandsaw and hope you can get it to working okay.